we're here on a beautiful Saturday in Vancouver. It's raining, pouring outside, and we're here at the iconic convention center. And joining me is one of our speakers today. I am truly excited to hear you speak because I'm very passionate about social media and digital marketing. So tell us about what inspired you to be here speaking at the INITI8 conference in Vancouver.
Yeah, I love the idea that realtors, and maybe anyone who snuck into the event, could learn how to use all things digital, all things social media, all things public relations to grow their brand, to grow their name, and to help others.
So how did your journey start in social media and PR? Was this something that you were doing for a client or for yourself? Because I remember back in the day for me working in social media, people used to poo-poo it a little bit in my acting field, but now, especially since COVID and SAG strike, people are noticing the power of content creation. And this industry, realtors, real estate, we're really seeing whether you're using drones or your cell phone or whatever. So tell us a bit about your journey and how realtors can learn from someone like you.
Yeah, I remember the day, speaking of acting, when a YouTube channel got as many views on the average TV show at the time, and people all of a sudden paid attention to this thing called YouTube. These days we have incredible tools at our disposal, from Reddit to Quora to Instagram to TikTok, kind of wherever you feel that your listeners are, that your buyers are, that your sellers are. And so the fact that we have this at our fingertips, it's free, right? I started off doing GeoCity websites back in the day, and it was like the original websites, and then I was a youth worker. And so a lot of the youth that we worked with were on a thing, back then it doesn't exist anymore, called MySpace. And there were some other social channels that are defunct at the moment. Vine was one of those as well. And so I watched that we needed to be in the places where our youth were. And so I would put information out there, and we'd tell them about youth events using these social channels. I got a Facebook account when I was a university student because it was available to people with university email. And then when I got into the work I do now in marketing, I realized there was a ton of brands that were trying to discover and figure out how do we use social media to actually grow a business.
Brilliant. And the fact that someone like you, your work touches so many people, because whether you're a coffee shop or a realtor or an actor, you know, whether someone is opening a restaurant, having social media and online presence is just so important that it's not even, like, even grandmas have TikToks now. And I feel like this is gonna sound bad, I get my news from social media.
And you're not the only one. Like TikTok would actually say they're not a social media channel. They would argue against that. They would say that they're an entertainment platform. They would say they're a news platform. They did a study and they found that the #1 places, like 18 to 40-year-olds were getting information about who Indigenous people are in Canada, was TikTok. And so these platforms, these places are so key and crucial. Financial information, financial institutions who are intimidated by social media channels are slowly discovering that the #1 place 18 to 60-year-olds are getting their financial information about where to invest is TikTok and Instagram.
I would say I'm one of those people, and anything I'm not sure about, whether it is what product to purchase or what I should invest in, what account I should open, I literally type it in. I've become one of those Gen Z people. I'm not a Gen Zer, but I'm following those trends. So what can we learn from your talk today for those individuals who are not here in person, you know, due to the rain, due to the weather outside? Can you share with us some of the insights that we're going to be hearing from you on stage today?
Yeah, I think one of the key pieces to maybe even write down, put it up in your office or on your computer or whatever, is the term thumb-stopping content. How can you produce content, not about quantity of content, but content that causes people who are scrolling like this with their thumbs, how do you get them to stop and actually like pay attention? Second thing to really be thinking about is, again, TikTok, Instagram is becoming close to the second largest search engine in the world. Google being #1, YouTube being #2, and so again, #3 being TikTok and Reels. And so as people are searching for information about housing and renovations or what home to buy or what coffee machine should I get, being there and being that point of information, that ever-present, helpful person And then when they go to buy or sell their home, ideally you're the person they go to.
What advice would you give to successful but also fresh faces in the real estate market, fresh faces at Inisha when it comes to social media and digital marketing?
Yeah, I'd say it's like swimming. I'd say describe it like no one really loves jumping in the pool right away, or jumping in the ocean, or jumping in a cold lake right away. But once you're in there, it's pretty fun and it's pretty awesome. So I'd say go to a place that, one channel, pick one social media channel that you maybe feel comfortable with, or you know that your buyers, your sellers are going to be, and like dip your toes in and just eventually just jump in. And just try swimming in that one place for a while, get used to it, get to know it. Because I think there's a huge intimidation factor where people feel like they need to be on every channel right away from day one. So I'd say just get on one, figure it out. And for example, for some people like myself, LinkedIn is my go-to place. I like it, I'm comfortable there, I like swimming there, and I don't feel like I have to be everywhere else, but I'm really loving it there. Some people find Reddit works really, really well. They're really helpful on Reddit. Some people find they've got an email subscription, so they've created a whole e-newsletter about their town or community. For some, it's a YouTube channel. So find where you're comfortable. And again, at the same time, if we think of historically the Gutenberg press, which enabled people to publish and print things really en masse, and we fast forward to today, we have this new opportunity where we have a Gutenberg press in the palm of our hands. Media and personalities and movements are no longer controlled by the big five in Canada. You aren't blocked by CTV or Rogers or Bell. You have the ability to communicate something that, again, could take off like wild. Very demure, right? Whatever it is, whatever the concept is, again, that's a good example of just that went wildly on fire, but also just small things of like, hey, this is my advice for you on buying a home. This is my tips for you. This is something I learned this week. And I think as long as you're willing to be generous and helpful, you can grow a good following and be that helpful person that you probably already are.
I love that. And, I feel like one of the pointers for someone, like some of the speakers today, there was one lady who'd never spoken on a stage. They get stage fright. For someone like me, it could be like, okay, I'm comfortable with Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm getting into because I see I'm getting work from that. TikTok for me, you can't post the same content. It doesn't, there is an authenticity to TikTok. And I think that a part of that is you can't be afraid to make the mistake because there's people who are really opening up their hearts, and I think that happened during COVID over the last couple of years. It started out with the dances, but now people are having such meaningful discussions. So how it can apply to real estate is it can be mindful and demure and classy. However, we can have that intention. Could you just off the top give us some ideas that some of our realtor friends could use for content creation? I'm getting free advice. You're welcome.
I want to give an idea for the introverts that are watching this right now, and those that maybe just don't want to be that presence on social media, is how do you empower those around you? So I'm going to talk today about some tools. One of them is called StoryTap, where how do you empower your happy customers, people who love you, people in the past, so you get others to talk about you instead of you always talking about yourself. So what are the tools, what are the resources, what are the ways and strategies to give other people the tools so that they're telling your story, they're telling the good news of who you are. The other one to think about is if you can empower other people, they're going to go into channels that you may not ever want to go into, whether it's Facebook groups, whether it's Discord services, whether it's Slack channels. And there's this huge movement now of what's called silent social. So how are you empowering people to go into social channels that ads and regular people can't reach?